winning. And generally the best barometer for what you can do is what you've done, and that's where experience in the game of basketball, and particularly in terms of a leadership role, comes into play. But we're here with an emphasis on student athletes. That student comes first. And that's why, you know, at the core of what we are as an athletics department, you find good students. And that's exactly why today we have the highest GPA and the highest rate of graduates in the history of Troy University. And that's a reflection, too, of the staff and their dedication to doing what's right and putting these students first. But then you have that fourth dimension, and that's why gatherings like this are important. You know, family values are important at Troy University. We talk about value, but we also talk about values. And so the values of family and caring for each other are important, and relating to the community. Relating to the community. It's our desire every time we play on this field or play in the arena next door that every seat be filled. That won't happen without good community relations. And that's why we come to you with a candidate that Jeremy will introduce, but I am satisfied we have the man that'll carry us to that level that we desire. But you don't do that alone. You don't do that alone. It takes a lot of supporters to do that. And Scott's greatest supporters are sitting on the front row this morning with his wife Jennifer, and he has 3 sons, great young men that are going to love this community, and I think that the community will love them. But those young men, as Scott has told me, you know, we function in the world of academics, and all of us know that to get into the university you have to have an acceptable ACT rate, ACT, and these boys can best be remembered because you have Austin, Cody, and Tyler. And Scott and Jennifer, they have to be a hard act to follow. Welcome this morning, and I particularly am pleased to introduce to you a gentleman who introduced me but doing a great job, who's going to introduce you to our next basketball coach. Please welcome the best AD in America, Jeremy.
Thank you all. I appreciate that. You know, like I said when I first walked up, this is a big day for us. I'm excited about the future of our basketball program, where we're headed, and I'm going to be brief because we want to get to the man of the hour here. But I want to outline a few things for you. And you know, these search processes are not. It's an exciting time. I wouldn't describe them as enjoyable, just because there's so much information to be processed. But the important thing when you start a search process, and where we started this one, was your profile. You know, what are you looking for in a candidate? And that starts with who you are. I think having an understanding of who we are as an institution, as a community, as a fan base, as our student body makeup, all those things are important to try to find the right fit for Troy. So in our profile, and Dr. Hawkins hit on this a little bit, you know, we needed to find somebody who had the ability to lead a program, who was a proven winner, that we could draw a distinction between their time within a program and the success of that program. And if you guys have looked at Scott's record, I think that's pretty easy to see that he's been a winner. He's been a winner throughout his career and has that proven success. You know, ability to connect with players. We need someone who our student athletes feel comfortable building a relationship with and can trust and feel really good about getting up every day and being part of our program. And I think Scott is that person. And we need somebody who could have the ability to connect to the community. I think that's in this community, in this town, I think that is so important for people to feel invested in our program and feel connected to what we're doing. And I have no doubt that Scott's going to be able to do that. Someone who is going to do it the right way, integrity. You know, I as an athletic director have zero desire to lay awake at night and worry about, you know, our men's basketball program or our football program or any of our programs, be concerned about what we're doing from an integrity standpoint. And so that was at the top of the list. We got to find someone who's going to do it the right way and check all the other boxes. And then as I begin the profile, someone who's the right fit for our institution. And sometimes it's hard to put into words what right fit means, but sometimes it's more about just knowing it when you see it. And so there was a ton of interest in the job. The job comes open, and you know, we had to work through we had a list of people we wanted to talk to and dig in on, but there were other people that came into the mix just because there was so much interest around the country in this job. And I think that speaks a lot for our program. Says a lot about where we're at, says a lot about our facilities, says a lot about our leadership here on campus, that people were that excited about the opening here. But honestly, and we got in front of several people. We did our due diligence. I probably spent, you know, honestly, talked to 30 coaches, but we got in front of the right people that we thought checked the boxes for us. But during the process, all signs continued to point to Scott Cross. And again, he'd proven on the court what he could do. That goes without saying. He's a humble guy. He's a servant leader. He's a guy who's going to be able to make those connections that we discussed. And what you do when all arrows start pointing to somebody in this search process is you try to find somebody who will say something negative. And we kind of went through that with football. Like I joked about Coach Lindsey, and I'll say the same thing for Scott. I couldn't find it. Couldn't find anybody to say anything negative, and as hard as we tried. And I was on the phone with some people in the industry who have a really great grasp of the entire landscape nationally and are very involved. And I would mention some names to them. And on multiple occasions, when Scott Cross's name came up, they said, look, if you've talked to Scott and he's interested in this job, let's just stop the conversation right there because you need to go hire him. And more than one person said that. And it was evident how well respected he is around the country, and what a great job he's done at his previous stops. And I'm going to share something. I may embarrass him a little bit, but I got to kind of recap what type of person he is. I got an email yesterday after the announcement was made from a father who Scott recruited his son, I think more than 10 years ago probably, when he was first getting started as a head coach. And the email basically said, congratulations, you've hired the finest man in college basketball. My son, and his son ended up not going to the Big 12. He didn't end up at Scott's institution, but he said, we will always remember Coach Cross, how classy he was, how he treated us, and the impression he left on us. And so 10 years later, this guy stops what he's doing to email me and tell me that about Coach Cross. And I think that says all you need to know about who he is as a person. And probably the biggest compliment I could pay him, I've got a 13-year-old son here who loves basketball. If he ever is in a position where he's going to be recruited to play basketball, I hope he plays for a guy like Scott Cross. So without further ado, your next men's basketball coach, Scott Cross. All right, man, we're going to take a quick picture here. Let's go. Scott Carlson. You'll hold that, sir.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I can't tell you how excited I am. This has been an absolute whirlwind for us, but this is one of the greatest days of my entire life. It's truly an honor. I'm humbled for this great opportunity, and I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'd like to thank, you can see, as you can see, these two men right here, two of the finest leaders anywhere in the country. And that gets me as fired up as anything. And that made the decision. There was zero decision. There was zero decision at all. These two guys, the opportunity to work for them, couldn't have better leadership with these two guys. And thank you to the Board of Regents as well, Board of Trustees. Appreciate all that y'all do for the university. Look forward to working with y'all very closely as well. We've already introduced my wife and my wife and kids here, but Jen, without Jen, none of this would be possible. She's the biggest supporter. She's the team mom. She's going to make oatmeal butterscotch cookies for every time the team comes over. That's what she's going to do. She makes homemade ice cream for them. She's as big a part of our recruiting as anything, as well as my boys, Austin, Cody, Tyler. Cody has a magic trick that he does every time a recruit comes over, and I guarantee you he can pick the card that they pick, and they're absolutely blown away. They'll go on recruiting visits. Cody can talk for 30 minutes with the moms and just make it as comfortable as can be. So they're special, and they're so excited. When I told them the news, I FaceTimed them, and Jen let the boys there, and they were just fist pumping in the air, and they were just so excited. And the support here is just it's almost overwhelming. When we walked in, and obviously when we saw the scoreboard and see the football stadium, we were blown away with it. Definitely, I was truly humbled by it all. We're just so excited to get here and get things started. And you know, I want to tell you a little bit about what I believe in and some of the things that I'm about. I believe that you know, my philosophy is to work extremely hard, to serve others, to make everything competitive, and then to put it all in the good Lord's hands. That's what I believe in 100%. I do agree. Thank you. I do agree with Chancellor Hawkins. I mean, leadership is about serving others. So, you know, and that starts with the basketball team. I'm going to have to do a great job with that. I want our guys to have that same mentality too. They need to get out. They need to serve each other. And that's what a great basketball team is about. I believe my 5 core values that I believe in for our basketball team, and we'll talk about it all the time. We want to be a tough, competitive, selfless basketball team that communicates and takes ownership in everything we do. So those are the things every single day we'll talk about. You got to be tough. I mean, if you want to be a champion, if you want to win, you have to be tough. So it starts right there. You know, if you're going to be soft and not play hard, you have no chance for success. So we'll try and build that within our guys. One of the things I admire most about Chancellor Hawkins is that he was a Marine, is a Marine. You're once a Marine, always a Marine, right? Received a Purple Heart. Like, I love studying military leadership and Navy SEALs, Marines, boot camp. Well, that's one of the things we do with our guys. We do a defensive boot camp, and it's hard. It's definitely mentally and physically challenging, but it toughens them up. And when they complete that, then when you go on the road and you're playing Alabama or Auburn, it's not such a tall task because you've just completed boot camp. And that's also when they complete boot camp, we give them a kind of camo T-shirt, and I promise you that's the shirt that they'll never, ever throw away for the rest of their lives because they did something. The other core value, competitive. Competitive guys win basketball games too. So we try and make everything competitive in practice, in the classroom. I don't want our guys, if they're capable of getting a 4.0, we're not going to be satisfied with a 2.5. You know, we want them to strive and be as competitive as possible in everything that they do. And then communication. On the basketball court, that's extremely important. If you communicate as a defense, you're letting your teammates know what's about to happen. If the first thing you know on a screen is you get hit, you're done. But you can communicate and you can help your teammates and you can navigate the screen because you talk to your teammates. And that's a hard thing. You know, today everything's social media. We're all on the computers. You know, I'm guilty of that. First one myself. But so they have to learn to communicate, and that's a hard thing. A lot of times we'll go on the road, and one of the things I'll tell them, let's put up our phones. Let's just sit down, let's eat together, let's put up the phones, and let's build relationships, because that's what it's about. A team that's connected is going to be a great basketball team. We want our guys to be selfless. We want them to share the basketball. We want them to pick each other up. It's a hard thing to do when you come out the game to be cheering for the next guy that goes in. But we want to flip that. We want our guys when they come out the game to be cheering for their teammates so they can wear them down, and then when they come back in, they're going to be even better. And then the last thing, we want to take ownership in everything that we do. Ownership is a big one to me. It encompasses so many different aspects. We don't want any entitlement in the program. You know, entitlement's a big thing these days. We want this, we want that. I don't want our guys to do that. I want our guys, when they see a piece of trash in the locker room, to pick up and put the trash in the trash can. Those are the type of guys that I want in the program. I want them to take accountability for their actions. And, you know, when they do that, anything can be solved. There's no problem that's too big as long as we take ownership with what we do. Since we've walked in to Troy, everybody has just absolutely been amazing. You've welcomed us with open arms. The support here is truly outstanding. I can see the one Troy and how everybody is in this thing together, and it gets me fired up and it gets me excited. I can see why all the programs have been so successful here, and I look forward to being a part of that. I'd also like to thank Coach Dixon, the TCU head coach, who's going to be a future Hall of Famer, for hiring me at TCU. We still have a little bit of work to be done. Hopefully y'all can catch that game on Tuesday in the NIT. We play Texas, so hopefully we can take care of business. But I'm extremely grateful to him. I've learned a lot of things from his leadership and how he runs a basketball program, and very, very thankful to him. Also, my mom and dad, my brother, they've helped instill the values that I want to instill in our basketball team. They've been a huge part of any success that I've had, and I'm extremely thankful for them as well. When we go out on the road recruiting, what we're going to be looking for is we call them OKGs. Does anybody know what OKG is? It's our kind of guy. So I learned that from Coach Peterson, who used to be the head football coach at Boise State. Excuse me. And Coach Peterson, he talked about it. That was his recruiting philosophy. He wants high character, blue collar, high production, low ego guys. And we made that decision with my previous program back in about 2010 that those were the guys that we were going to look for. Those were the guys that we were going to recruit. And once we got those guys in the program, everything started changing. We started winning basketball games. It was definitely a byproduct. We had guys like Jorge Bilbao who would, you know, if I asked him to run through this glass wall right here, he'd run right through it. You know, I can remember we were playing at BYU, and he literally couldn't stand up because he was so dehydrated from, he had like a stomach virus, and they had to give him like 6 bags of IV, and he played that game. Like, and I was like, hey, I don't want you to play. We don't want to take any, coach, I'm playing. It doesn't matter, I'm playing. You can't stop me from playing, I'm playing. Like, so that's who he was. He's that type of guy. You know, guys like Kevin Hervey, who, you know, was a second-round draft pick last year, got drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, was a part of that basketball team. That group of guys with Eric Neal and him and some of those other guys, they won 27 games. They helped us beat teams like Texas, number 12 in the country, St. Mary's. They helped us beat Ohio State, Memphis. We're going to do the same thing here. All right, we're going to do that. As Dr. Hawkins said, we want to go to the Sweet 16. We don't want to stop there. We want to continue. We want to cut down the nets, you know, at the Final Four. That's the ultimate goal. Yes, it's a long ways. My philosophy, though, is championships are won today. We have to win today. We have to get better each and every day. If we do that over the course of many, many days, we can get there. The facilities are in place. I'm one of those guys that is a believer, you know, and when we go out and recruit, we're going to look for guys that are believers too, our kind of guys, but they also got to believe that it can be done. When you believe it can be done, you can accomplish anything. And I can remember going into Texas and putting it up on the whiteboard, and I put up there all the stars that they had on their team. Y'all know the stars, you get like 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. So I believe they had 3 5-star guys. Those are the top 10 guys in the country. They had 6 4-stars. I think those are like the top 50, top 100 guys in the country. They had 1 3-star. How many do you think we had? 1 3-star. But we won that game. We won that game because our guys played together. They were tough. They played for each other, and they played harder, and that's why we won that basketball game. Games are won and lost by the little things. I believe that 100%. if any of y'all watched March Madness, there's a team in there, Belmont. I was pulling for them. You know, anytime you're at a mid-major program, you're always pulling for those teams to go on and have success. I've seen them run this backdoor play over and over and over again, and they just absolutely pick teams apart. I think they were down 1 point in the first round, and they ran the backdoor play. And I saw it coming, like all the guys were running up and they were setting it up, and then the guy cut backdoor and he was wide open. But the defender for Maryland had his hands up, tipped the ball. Maryland wins the basketball game because of a little thing like putting your hands up. And that's something that we got to teach on a daily basis. We're going to have to teach our guys to do those little things. I want them to be loud. I want them to be demonstrative when they close out and get their hands up and say, ball, 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 and be loud. I think those little things like that make a huge difference in the outcome of the game. So those are the things we're going to be working on every single day. My staff and I, we're going to bring tenacious energy to every practice, every game. I want them to do the same thing in the classroom. We're going to build a winner here. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen. There's tons of good players all around this area right here. That makes it exciting. You have Florida, Alabama, Texas, the Oklahoma's within distance. You got Memphis. I mean, Atlanta. There's so many recruitable places right around campus that you can literally hop in the car and drive to. So there's so many good players. We're going to find them. We're already on some great players. We're going to get them in here, and we're going to get this thing rolling as soon as possible here. The fan support, you guys, y'all are one of the reasons I'm here too. Y'all are one of the reasons why I'm so fired up about this opportunity to look and see the football field and the fan support and what they've done there. That gets me excited. I want to make Trojan Arena the toughest place in the country to play basketball. We have to pack that place out. I'm going to have to do my job. I'm going to have to get out on campus. Brent is my BFF now. He's my best friend forever. So I'm going to be getting out there with him and pounding the pavements, and wherever he tells me to go, I'm going to go. And we're going to try and meet up and talk to as many people because it helps us. When that place, I talked to a few of y'all who told me y'all yell at the officials. We need y'all, we need y'all to yell at those officials. They don't like that. So that's why the home court advantage can be so beneficial to teams. And so I'm super excited about the opportunity to work with Coach Rigby. What she's done with the women's basketball program is truly outstanding. I look forward to picking her brain a little bit and seeing some of the things that she's done to have the success. I've had the opportunity to meet and visit with Coach Smart here. I've heard great things about him from Coach DT, who I worked with in Arlington. The success he's had to, get an at-large bid at a mid-major program, that speaks a lot to the type of program that you have, because those things aren't handed out very often. So Coach Lindsey, I met last night. It was truly an honor to meet him. I'm humbled by the fact that he came over and took time out of his day. Shows what a humble, serving leader he is to do that. I was blown away. I watched your press conference last night. I was like, oh, I have no chance of living up to what he just did there. It was absolutely awesome. But I look forward to working with him and learning some of the things that he's done that's helped him have the success that he's had. I look forward to the Trojan Tours this spring and summer. We're going to get out and about and meet as many people and shake as many hands and build relationships and try and get people involved. I really, from the very first day, and you can say, well, that's just coach speak or he's just saying something, but I remember coming here and walking around because I've talked to one of my former assistants, and when I got hired, he was like, wow, you spoke that into existence, because we were actually jogging right down this street right here, and we were jogging all through here, went down by the lake down there, went up into that neighborhood, and walking in an arena, we were just blown away, and I was like, wow, this is a sleeping giant. We're going to awaken that giant. That's what we're going to do, and everything is in place to be successful. They're invested in the program. They give the resources. in order to be successful. Their leadership is outstanding. The leadership from the trustees, the coaching staff that I've met. I mean, it's absolute, everything is in place to be successful. We've got to go out and we've got to do it on a day-to-day basis, and that's what we're going to do. One of the other core beliefs that I believe in is I believe in taking the stairs. Now, I don't want that to affect anybody when y'all go down the elevators down here. I didn't get on Brent and I didn't ask him to find the stairs for me when we were coming up here. Maybe if he can find them on the way down, because I don't want our players to see me taking the elevator anymore. But I'll tell you how that came about. You know, I'm one of those guys. I'm a simple guy, so I don't have to stay in fancy hotels. At my previous institution, when we started out, it was always Holiday Inn Express. That's where we stayed. But you know, there are 2 or 3 floors usually. So I would notice our guys, you all get the key handed out at the same time. They would all go right to the elevator. It's 3 floors, guys. Come on, like, you guys are elite level athletes, and you're telling me you're gonna wait a minute for the elevator to come down so you can go up 1 flight of stairs. And so I'd always kind of rib them and give them a hard time about it, but you know, never really did anything, just always would tease them about it. And I'd go right to the stairs and walk up. But then it's probably 2 years ago, we came back from a road trip. It may have been from coming back from Troy. I remember it was snowing, and so I was running around the concourse of the arena trying to get a little bit of workout, work off some steam a little bit. And as I was walking around, all of a sudden the elevator doors opened up. And I wave, because I'm going to wave to you. If I see you in Troy Trojan gear, I'm going to wave to you every time. But so I waved as I was running by. And then, like, I took a few more steps. I was like, hold on. I think that was a couple of our guys that just walked out the elevator. And so I kept on running. I didn't stop my workout and say anything to them right then, but I kept running. Then I said something to my staff about it. And I called Jen on my way home. It's a 30-minute commute to get home. That's one of the things that gets me so excited. We are going to find a place like Jeremy so close to campus that I could walk to campus. And that gets me super excited as well. But anyway, I called her. And I was like, Jen, I said, am I going overboard here? Sometimes I do use my wife as a sounding board, and she can calm me down a little bit. I said, is this crazy? And she's like, no, they're elite athletes. Like, no way they should take the elevator, you know, up 1 flight when the stairs are right there. She's like, no. And so, of course, just like last night, I didn't sleep a wink. I didn't sleep at all that night. When I have something on my mind, it's usually tough for me. I'm one of those guys. That's why I read every night to try and put myself to sleep. But didn't sleep a wink. The next day we had a game. And so I remember we went to midcourt. And I asked the guys, I said, when I was jogging yesterday, I waved to a couple of y'all as y'all were coming out the elevator, you know, which of you guys were in that elevator? And so they raised their hands. They were great kids. I mean, they meant nothing by it. And I said, okay. I said, here's what I want you to do. The guys that didn't take the elevator, you're going to pick them up by their ankles, and they're going to walk on their hands from mid-court all the way up the stairs to the elevator and then all the way back down to mid-court. Now, this is game day. Right? So that's a lot on your shoulders and arms. And then so I huddled them up and I said, do y'all know why I just made y'all do that? And they're like, no, honestly, Coach, it makes no sense at all. I said, here's why. I said, you guys are elite level athletes. If you're looking for a shortcut because you're tired or feeling sorry for yourself, what are you going to do when the game's on the line? What are you going to do when that ball's rolling on the floor and you're tired? What are you going to do when you have to sprint back in transition on defense? If you're looking for a shortcut in one area of your life, you're going to look for it. It makes it easier to look for it in all areas of your life. I believe that 100%. So that's one of the things that I do. I remind myself by taking the stairs everywhere I go. They can tell you they've went to many, many places. We were in Hawaii. What floor were we on in Hawaii? We were on the 13th floor. How many elevators did we take in Maui over the course of a week? 1 to take the luggage up. That was the only one. And usually if it's me and I got my bag, I'm taking the stairs. But I want our guys to embrace that. That's going to take a little time, break them of, the taking the elevators. But that's one thing that I want that to be our identity, that we're going to be tough and we're not looking for shortcuts in anything. And so that'll be a little bit of a work in progress with our guys, but I look forward to the challenge. I also believe the toughest team always wins. All this stuff you can see, it goes hand in hand. The toughest team, you watch our game in the NIT. If we win, I promise you we were the tougher team. If we lose, then I promise you Texas was tougher than us on that night. It doesn't mean that you're always the toughest team, but on that night, the toughest team is the team that I believe wins every single time. So that's one of the things that I'll constantly tell our guys every single day, especially on game days, that they have to be the toughest team. My expectations from our guys are going to be that we are the hardest playing team. All right, so we do a thing where we track hustle points with our guys. So that's steals, charges, deflections, dive on the floor, loose ball. We have a whole grading system for that, and we'll keep it for us, and we'll keep it for the opposing team. And so that's my only expectation, not the outcome of the score. We need to win the hustle points. And so if they win the hustle points and we lose the game, I'm okay with it. I can live with that. And I'll tell them, hey, guys, y'all did what I asked you to do. Either I didn't do a good enough job preparing you, maybe they had a great shooting night, or we had a bad shooting night. All of those things, I can sleep at night if we lose a game and we've done that. But if they don't play hard on the opposing team, I promise you I'm not sleeping at all. So that's all I ask of the guys, and that's what I'm going to demand of them, is that we're going to be the hardest, toughest playing team out there. I look forward to working with these guys and help growing them as men too. I'm judged based upon wins and losses. All the coaches in this room are judged on wins and losses, and rightfully so. We're here to win basketball games. That'll be the first and most important thing, in addition to graduating our guys. But to me, it goes beyond that. We do life lessons with our guys on a weekly basis. I want to grow them into productive young men that can have wife and kids and families and successful jobs and careers. We should be judged what our guys do 20 years from now. Unfortunately, there's no metric, there's no way of measuring that, but I take as much pride in the day when Derek Obasan, former player, invited my wife and kids and myself to go visit his home that he had just built because he had played professional basketball and now was able to buy his own home. That was absolutely unbelievable. Or seeing Kevin Hervey get drafted, or seeing Drew Charles get hired as a project manager for a home builder straight out of college, making unbelievable money straight out of. Those are the things that get me excited, and so I look forward to that opportunity to help grow these guys as men. I'm always going to put the good Lord first. I want our guys as well, regardless of their, religion or whatever. I want them to grow in their spirituality as well. That's a big part of what I do. I trust God's plan with everything. I believe I'm here for a reason. I've tried to follow His path, and I'm so happy the path that He has blessed me with in being here. We're going to build a winner here, I promise you. It's one Troy. We're all in this thing together. We're going to build a program that you're going to be proud to be a part of. And I just thank you, and I embrace you, and I look forward to you guys coming out to watch us, and look forward to winning basketball games with you. Thank you.
All right, we'll take just a few minutes to answer any questions from the media up here if you have any. And Eric's got a mic here if we need it.
Coach, glad to have you in Troy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Presentation. Coach, how well do you shoot free throws, your team?
It depends upon how good of shooters we have is a big part of it. So the years where we've had really good shooting teams and we've had three-point shooters, we've shot it really well. A lot of times I think when your guards are good shooters and they're getting to the free throw line, you have a chance to have a great free throw shooting team. If your 7'1" guy is the guy that's always going to the free throw line and he can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, it makes it a little bit tougher. But I promise you, we're going to work on it. We're going to put them in scenarios, and we're going to try and simulate the game pressure as much as possible. I'm going to work with them on mental training and try and grow them in those areas, because that's a big part of it as well, just relaxing under pressure. But we're going to try and get it right.
Do you agree that free throws win games?
Absolutely. Free throws, all the little things win games. It's definitely a big part of it. Yes, sir.
Coach, welcome to Troy.
Thank you.
I saw yesterday you met with the team, and how is it coming in and meeting with the team that the guys you didn't really recruit, and what did you think about your first meeting with that team?
Well, it was great. I was extremely excited to visit with them. I know it's it's a little bit of a difficult situation for them. Anytime you have a new coach coming in, you don't know quite what to expect. But I've watched them on film. There's a lot of positive things. There's a lot of good young talent there. So I look forward to working with them and developing them and building those relationships with them. But they were great, and I can't wait to get back down and start the process.
Hey, Coach, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, did I hear you right? You're going to finish up with TCU, and
Yes, sir.
you're going to New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Coach Dixon was absolutely amazing. In my worst, hardest, most toughest professional time, he hired me, and like I said, it was the good Lord's plans. But he hired me to help him win a championship. We had to go the longer route. We're one of those teams that a lot of people say may have got the short end of the stick and not going to the tournament, but we have an opportunity to win an NIT championship. So that's special. That's something that you can win a ring for. I want that for Coach Dixon. I want that for the guys in the program. I just didn't feel right if I didn't finish what I started there. And so, I would do the same thing here at Troy. I'm always going to finish things. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So that's what I wanted to do. And, luckily, Jeremy was super supportive. And I don't know many athletic directors in the world that would allow their coach to do that. And I'm very, very thankful and honored and humbled, that he allowed me to do that and finish what I started there.
And one more, if I could. Do you have an idea yet about your staff and what steps have you taken so far?
Yes. So I can't comment specifically, but there, I have a guy that was on my previous staff that I've been talking to that I think does a tremendous job. I'm going to talk to the current staff as well and visit with them about it. There's a couple of guys that I've known in the business that are outstanding recruiters, outstanding on the floor coaches. I'm not going to rush anything. I want to make sure that we have the right guys in the program to win basketball games, and so it's not something that has to be done overnight. But we'll get it done in a timely process, and we'll definitely have a championship caliber staff for sure.